and we're gonna get started with a lesson that is called How Long Have You Been? So this is going to be based around unit number 1. Remember that during unit number 1 we were studying about the differences between the continuous tenses and the simple tenses. So we're gonna grab on that and apply it here. If you have questions, of course, I'm gonna notice when we do the exercises, if you're not sure on how to use some of these verbs, you definitely probably you definitely need a recap or a refresher. Okay, so all of these videos are already in YouTube. So for example, if you have questions and this explanation is not enough and these exercises are not enough, you can go to our YouTube playlist. You can go to unit number 1 and you can watch the videos from unit number 1, which will provide you an explanation again of this topic. Okay, now we're gonna try to um, use these sentences and apply it to our personal lives. Okay, so how is that? Let's read the instructions and then provide some insights. So it says write the questions using the correct verb forms. So you have a partial question here. Okay, so it's not a complete question. We're missing some parts, but you have most of it here. Now you're going to grab whatever you have here, and then you will complete it with the correct verb form. Is it simple present what you need, or is it simple past, or is it past continuous? Well, you will have to decide that when you read the sentence, okay? And then you're going to answer the question, okay? So you're going to answer the question with true sentences. When I say true, I mean I'm referring to sentences that are true for you, okay? So what you take photos of lately. Okay. Here, the word lately is very important. We're trying to decide what is the tense that we need to complete this sentence. But the word lately is very important. Lately means últimamente. Okay. So that means something that you have been recently doing. Okay. Recently doing. That means when I say the word doing, ing at the end, that means that this is a continuous tense. Okay. How can we complete this sentence? Let's try to work on sentence number 1. First, complete the question with the right words. Vean que aquí les falta. Dice, what you take photos of lately. Esa oración no se entiende. That's an incorrect sentence in English. El verbo take necesita un cambio, necesita ser modificado de una forma en la que la oración completa tenga sentido. It's your job. Your job is going to be modifying the sentence in a way that you put the verb in the correct form. And step number 2, then answer the question. Cuando ya hayas descifrado qué es lo que la oración correcta es, entonces ya puedes proveer una respuesta que sea verdadera para ti, ¿ok? Pues no sé cómo están, si ustedes toman fotos por su trabajo, por sus estudios o por lo que sea, o si simplemente son personas de fotos, pero tiene que ver con tomar fotos. So I need an answer that is true for you. We're going to work on number 1. Vamos a desempolvarnos con la número 1. If you need assistance, that's okay. I'm going to be able to explain the reason why. But first of all, I want you to try it without my help. And then I'm going to give you a little help, and then I'll let you try again. But that's what I want to do, just to kind of remove the dust a bit of some of your ideas. So remember 2 things. You have to organize the sentence first, put the verb form in the correct form, and then answer the sentence with your information. So you have a time limit of 1 minute and 40 seconds. So you gotta be fast. Okay, time's over. So let's see, what are your ideas? And then, of course, I'm going to provide some corrections if they are required. Okay, so posting some of them. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I do have an answer, but the question is not corrected. So it seems that the question is not yet. So I've been taking photos of the beautiful sunsets in my neighborhood. That's great. So you got the question, but what is the right form for the question? Let's see more answers. What are you taking photos of lately? Okay. Here, what did you take photos of? Okay, makes sense. What have you taken photos of lately? Almost there. What have you taken photos of lately? What have you been taking photos of lately? Okay, perfect. So what's happening here? What's the real answer? And I said I mentioned to pay attention to the word lately. Okay? So the word lately means últimamente. Okay? So here, before we answer anything, we have to pay attention to what is the tense of the sentence. Okay? Esa es una habilidad que necesitamos desarrollar. Y veo que algunos estuvieron bien cerca. Okay, so you were very close of finding the right words to do it. But we're still missing a few things. Entonces, yo creo que hoy sí van a tener que tomar notas en cuanto a cuáles son los aspectos principales de cada uno de los tiempos verbales para saber si ese tiempo verbal es el que le aplica o no. ¿Ok? La palabra lately significa últimamente, es decir, de un momento o un punto en el pasado hasta hoy. ¿Ah? Es decir, algo que ha estado en continuidad hasta hoy. ¿Ok? No puede ser algo que estoy haciendo en este momento porque habla también del pasado, ¿verdad? O sea, desde un momento en el pasado hasta hoy. El simple past no abarca eso, ¿verdad? El simple past me dice, comí algo ayer y ahí eso se quedó ayer, ¿verdad? Entonces, ese es el simple past. Por eso es tan simple, ¿verdad? Porque you talk about something that is completed in the past. Entonces, si yo uso esa forma del pasado, ¿verdad? What did you take photos of lately? La palabra lately no tiene sentido ahí, ¿verdad? Entonces, ¿de qué tomaste las fotos en el pasado últimamente? Hay un conflicto ahí. La palabra lately no iría ahí. So, no es simple past. Descartado simple past. La palabra lately tiene que ver con un tiempo progresivo o continuo. Ahora, ¿cuál es el tiempo que va aquí? Ya dijimos que present continuous no va a ser, ¿verdad? Porque está hablando de un momento en el pasado hasta ahora. Un pasado continuo tampoco sería porque un pasado continuo, así igual que el pasado simple, habla de una actividad que se quedó en el pasado. Ya no es relevante para hoy. It is not relevant for today. ¿Cuál es el único tiempo verbal que es como un híbrido en el sentido de que utiliza una referencia en el pasado, like it starts in the past, but somehow it is relevant for today? Todavía en este tiempo verbal no importa el punto exacto en el que empezó, pero sí nos interesa que empezó en el pasado y todavía es relevante para hoy. What is that tense? What is the tense that connects both the past and the present? Can you give me an idea? What is the tense? The name of the tense.
Vamos a poner clarita. Present perfect.
It is the present perfect, yes. Present perfect. And remember that we have present perfect and we have present perfect continuous. Okay, so we have both. Tenemos ambos. The present perfect and the present perfect continuous. Pero ambos, both of them, they connect the past with the present somehow. Okay, de alguna forma lo conectan. Entonces, sí podría haber sido el present perfect acá, porque estamos hablando de un tiempo para acá. Cuando digo eso, lately, eso es lo que quiero decir, ¿verdad? de un tiempo para acá, o últimamente, o recientemente, what photos you're taking or you have been taking. Entonces, ¿cuáles son las características de estos dos tiempos verbales? ¿Verdad? Primero, ya les había pasado el chivo que era un tiempo continuo. Entonces, si decidíamos que era el present perfect, no iba a ser el present perfect simple, sino iba a ser el present perfect continuous. Ahora, ¿qué características tiene el present perfect continuous que a muchos les faltaron? Por ejemplo, aquí me pusieron, what are you taking photos of lately? Entonces, which kind of goes that way, but it's not present perfect continuous. It's more like the present continuous. Pareciera más como el present continuous, pero no era eso, ¿verdad? Vimos el pasado y dijimos, it's not going to be the past either. Here, what have you taken photos of lately? Aquí estamos casi en el lugar, casi en el momento indicado. Pero, ¿qué características tiene el present perfect y el present perfect continuous? Sencillo, el present perfect tiene características que tiene el auxiliar have o has, ¿verdad? Y tiene el past participle. Le voy a poner un PP ahí. Past participle. Eso es el present perfect. Y el present perfect continuous tiene have o has, como lo pusieron ustedes. Tiene la palabra been, porque el verb be, ¿se acuerdan que para un tiempo continuo es indispensable que haya un verb be y que haya un ing, ¿verdad? Más el verbo con ing. Entonces, tiene que llevar estas tres cosas. Si no, no es ni uno ni otro, ¿verdad? Casi que va a medias. What have you taken photos of lately? What have you been taking photos of lately? And that is the present perfect continuous. So some of you were really close, but not entirely sure. What have you been taking photos of lately? What have you been taking photos of lately? Entonces, esta palabra, lately, es lo que les decía. Hoy vamos a tener que apuntar, ¿verdad? ¿Qué palabras son las que delatan de alguna forma la oración y que me dejan saber a mí que esta es una oración eh, eh, en un tiempo verbal específico? Por ejemplo, palabras que delatan el presente continuo, es palabras como right now, ¿verdad? Si vemos algo que dice right now, estamos hablando de en este momento. So that means that it's an activity that is continuous right now. So what have you been taking photos of lately? Now, I want to hear your answers. Algunos todavía lograron armar la pregunta, pero ya no me contestaron. So I don't know what have you been taking photos of lately. So let's go and hear a few answers. Okay. So I'm going to start with Carolyn, Liz, and then Miguel. Just you three for the moment because I have many other questions. So Carolyn, what have you been taking photos of lately?
So I mostly have been taking photos of sunsets because I don't remember anything else that I've taken photos of lately. More than that, because the sky is really beautiful, especially on the evenings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that sounds perfect. Is this something that you normally do like all the time? Like it's a like a routine for you, or it's just something that has happened lately?
I wouldn't say it's a routine because I don't do it every day. Like when I see the sky and it's like with really beautiful colors. I just take photos of it,
And
even
do
if
you
I
post
don't
them
post it.
so? Yeah, that was
No,
my question. Do you
yeah,
post them somewhere, or do you just keep them for you?
I just keep them. I don't know. I don't like to post too much things on my social media. I'm too conscious about it. I overthink it
Mm-hmm.
too much, so I just keep it to myself.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So sunsets, that's one idea. Okay, Liz, what about you? What have you been taking photos of lately?
Um, yes, I take pictures. I have taken pictures two weekend ago, 2 weeks ago, because I have a trip with my family. And then is the time when I take more pictures.
Okay, perfect. Where did you travel with your family?
Oh, Petén.
Okay,
trip to
perfect.
Petén.
Like Petén Tikal, or did you visit any other place?
Tikal, Cráter Azul, Isla Caracolitos.
Nice.
Three places.
3 places. Okay, perfect. So thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And my
Yes.
last question is for Miguel. Miguel, what have you been taking photos of lately?
I think uh, only photos for my boss
Hmm.
in my work.
Okay, that sounds good. That's exactly what we normally do. And the same for me. I normally just take photos of things for work. Good job. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next question. So let me go back to the main idea and just for us to follow this together. So we saw and we read this sentence and realized that the word lately is one word that we normally use with uh, present perfect continuous, right? It's something that started in the past and has been ongoing. Ongoing quiere decir constante, right? Continuous till today. So that's one way. Now, number two, how long you have a camera, okay? No vemos palabra lately acá. So, en este caso podría ser otro tiempo verbal. It's not going to be the same. Okay, is not going to be the present perfect continuous. So let's try to ask a question and change the verb in the correct way. Okay, so try to think about is how does this sentence sound the better? Is it going to be with a present simple? Like how long do you have a camera? Uh, Simple past. How long did you have a camera? Present perfect. How long have you had a camera? So I don't know. I'll let you decide that part. So please remember to complete the sentence and add your own answer, okay? Tienen que responder a esta pregunta cuando ya la hayan corregido. It's a two-part exercise. You answer and then you complete it. And of course, I'm going to ask some people to read it again. Okay, so on the first run, Carolyn, Liz, and Miguel were the people sharing. I'm gonna ask some other names to help me completing this once we have decided the right way of answering. Okay, time is almost over. Okay, let's see what you have. Okay, good. So this one. Okay, I'm gonna start with Karen. Karen, how long have you had a camera?
We've had a camera for about 10 years.
Okay, perfect. So if we see this sentence, guys, so we have a present perfect sentence. Okay, so we have how long have you had a camera? What is the formula of the present perfect? Have or has plus the verb in past participle, right? Entonces, nosotros ya teníamos la palabra have, ese era el verbo, ¿verdad? El verbo era have. Puede que suene un poco redundante, right? So it sounds a little redundant, pero una cosa es el auxiliar have y otra cosa es el verbo en pasado participio que necesitamos, ¿verdad? Entonces, el verbo que me dieron era have, pero yo necesito el pasado participio, por eso quedó had. How long have you had a camera? ¿Por cuánto tiempo has tenido una cámara? Esta oración creo que es la que hace más sentido. But let's see if there are any other ideas. How long you have a camera? O how long have you camera? Okay. Vamos por ahí. It was close, but not necessarily the one that we needed. For how long you had a camera? Okay. How long you have a camera? También, parecido, ¿verdad? I have an old camera for a long year, maybe a long time. Another one. How long have you had a camera? Okay, yes. How long? Let's see here. How long have you having a camera? Okay. No era un tiempo continuo, no había ningún indicio que esto fuera continuo, ninguna palabra lo delataba. Y en el caso de have, ¿verdad? ¿Por cuánto tiempo has tenido la cámara? Mm, Creo que no es una palabra que suene mucho, ¿verdad? How long have you had a camera? The past participle era todavía más sencillo, ¿verdad? Past participle de have is had. Okay, so let's go to the first exercise. Karen, congratulations, you have it correct. So how long have you had a camera? Ya les expliqué por qué, ¿verdad? El auxiliar have, ¿verdad? Es necesario y también es necesario el past participle del verbo. El verbo coincidentemente era have también, entonces, so we needed that extra word, had a camera. How long have you had a camera? Let's go here. Luisa, how long have you had a camera? If that's applicable to you. If it doesn't, then provide an answer for that.
I I haven't have a camera in whole of my life, only with
Okay.
my phone.
Okay, perfect. But when was the first time that you got a phone with a camera? How long ago was that?
Um, Probably 13 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, basically you have a camera in your hand. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a different type of camera, but still works, right?
yes.
So,
Not
so
in a good way, but I was uh, a camera.
okay, you had a camera.
Yeah,
So
I had it.
taking that in consideration, let's answer. How long have you had a camera?
I I have had no.
I've yes,
I've
I've had.
had a camera for about 13 years.
Exactly. Perfect. And that's a perfect present perfect sentence. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go with Oscar. Oscar, how long have you had a camera?
I have a old camera for a long year, so
When you say a long years ago, do you mean a long time?
yeah, it's a long time.
Okay, perfect. So I have an old camera. La pregunta es en presente perfecto. So how long have you had a camera? How long Have you had a camera? La respuesta tiene que ser en present perfect también. El present perfect dijimos que tiene que tener el have y tiene que tener el verb en past participle, ¿verdad? Entonces, en este caso, sería I y luego viene el auxiliar. ¿Cuál sería entonces? ¿I qué?
I had.
Had es el pasado participio. Sí lo necesitamos, pero antes de eso viene el auxiliar.
mm, Have?
Correcto.
No.
Entonces, es have.
Yeah.
Aunque se oiga raro, esta es la forma. I've had a
I have
camera.
had.
A camera. Esto significa, yo he tenido una cámara por mucho tiempo. I have had a camera for a
We can put
long
together the have
time.
and had.
Yes, because one is the auxiliary verb and
Mhm,
the other one is the action of having. So they are not the same. And that's why they go together, because one has one function, which
mhm,
is to be the auxiliary of the sentence of this present perfect, and the other one tells you the action of having. In this case, I mean, you can um change the verb for whatever you want. Like I have bought a camera or I have paid for a camera for a long time. So it doesn't matter as long as, of course, you use the past participle. Coincidentally,
mhm.
here we have the verb have and the auxiliary have, but we can use them together because they are different. One is an auxiliary and the other one is a verb. So we don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you.
You normally, what happens is that you normally see it in a contraction. So that's why it sounds weird. So, but we normally say, I've had a camera for a long time. We rarely say, I have had a camera. People normally do not use full words. They normally use the contraction. So sounds like I had a camera, but it's I've had a camera. I don't know if you notice the difference.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
good.
you, teacher.
No problem. Thank you for helping me. And okay. So I think that we have that covered. So good. What are we doing here? We are trying to learn how to decipher what is the right tense. So the first one, we identified that it was the present perfect continuous. The second one, we noticed that it was the present perfect, not continuous, just the regular one. Now, what about number three? Your parents take many photos of you when you were a child. Cuando eras niño. ¿Será que todavía soy niño? I'm still a child? No, ¿verdad? So it's nothing that I connected from the past to the present. It's not something that started in the past and it is still happening today. This is something that started in the past and stayed in the past. It's finished, okay? So when you read the sentence, you have to learn how to identify them. Cuando leo esta oración, yo inmediatamente tengo esa sensación, ¿verdad? No veo que algo está inconcluso, no veo que algo todavía es relevante para hoy, sino dice when you were a child, cuando eras niño. So that's a sentence that stayed in the past. So let's go ahead and work on that. So you have a sentence, la oración está incompleta. Ustedes tienen que descifrar entonces qué es lo que deberían de colocarle. So your parents take many photos of you when you were a child. Si se deciden por uno de los tiempos verbales, pregúntense, ok, ¿cómo puedo completar esta pregunta? Hay algunas preguntas que necesitan un auxiliar para empezar. Algunas otras preguntas que necesitan una question word. What is the case of this sentence? And of course, provide an answer, okay? Think about your own childhood and try to remember if your parents took a lot of photos when you were a child. So time's over. Time's over. Let's go ahead and review that together, okay? So I kind of gave you a hint, right? I told you that it was something that stayed in the past. So let me check here. Give me a second. Did your parents took many photos of you when you were a child? Okay. Carolyn, can you spot the mistake here? There's one mistake. It is simple past, so you're correct, but just want to see if you can see what the
Yeah,
mistake
just realized that because I put it at the beginning, the verb was in the in the
in the past, right? It does, you
in
don't
the
have to
present
transform
form.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's the correct sentence?
Did your parents take many photos of you when you were a child?
Okay, perfect, perfect. So this is a simple past sentence, and I think many of you were able to see that. Did your parents, very good. Your parents taking many photos when you were a child? No era en tiempo continuo, ¿verdad? No era en tiempo continuo. A veces las palabras currently or lately or right now, esas nos dejan saber un poquito de que es en pasado continuo o un tiempo continuo. Pero aquí no había, ¿verdad? Pareciera como una actividad que empezó en el pasado y que se acabó en el pasado. Did your parents take many photos when you were a child? Muy bien, muy bien. Did your parents take many photos when you were a child? Perfecto. Entonces, solo aclarando esa parte, ¿verdad? Cuando nosotros construimos oraciones, perdón, otra vez. Cuando nosotros construimos oraciones con el simple past, usamos el auxiliar del simple past para contestar, ¿verdad? Entonces, did. Con este empezamos oraciones. Así como en el presente decimos, por ejemplo, do you like chocolate? Do you like chocolate? Ese do es el auxiliar del presente. En el pasado usamos lo mismo, ¿verdad? Solo que en este caso es did. Did your parents? Y aquí solo hacíamos esa corrección con so, your parents take. Porque cuando ya tenemos el auxiliar, no es necesario volver a cambiarle los verbos al pasado, ¿verdad? En una oración afirmativa donde no hay auxiliares, donde no hay un did ni nada, entonces, claro, ¿verdad? My parents took many photos of me. ¿Verdad? Tal vez algunos de ustedes pueden contestar, sí, mis papás tomaron muchas fotos de mí. My parents took many photos of me. Esta es una oración de respuesta, ¿verdad? Es una oración afirmativa. It's an affirmative sentence. But if you see, there is no auxiliary verb here. No, no did, no didn't, nor anything. So I have to change the verb. Here in this sentence, I do have the auxiliary. So it appears there. I don't have to make the change. I just want to be clear on that. And these are simple rules of the tenses, but we tend to forget whenever we speak really fast. So let's do another one. I just have two more exercises before we change activities. So 2 minutes and try to finish on time. Same thing, try to identify what is the tense and if it's present, if it's past, if it's perfect, and if it's continuous. Okay, we have 20 seconds before time is over. Time's over. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So I'm gonna start with some of these and if we say this as well. So have you ever been to a photographer's studio? Okay, perfect. ¿Cómo identificar que este era present perfect? Porque ya vi dos, tres respuestas y veo que algunos sí identificaron que era present perfect. Ajá, have you ever been? Muy bien, muy bien. Este es Miguel. Muy bien, Miguel. You never go to a photographer studio? Okay. Have you ever been? Okay. Have you ever been? Okay, perfecto. Entonces les explico. Cuando ustedes tienen palabras otra vez, así como cuando vimos la otra, ¿verdad? Que decía lately. Esta delata rápidamente que es un evento like that started in the past and is still relevant for today's story. But words like ever, estas palabras casi siempre las usamos cuando queremos preguntar si has hecho algo por primera vez o en algún momento de tu vida has hecho algo. Por ejemplo, have you ever traveled to Europe? ¿Alguna vez has viajado a Europa? Eh, ¿Has probado mono? Have you ever eaten monkey? Have you ever tried iguana? Have you ever um, have you ever uh, ride a horse? Have you ever driven a van or a bus? Have you ever, I don't know, watched a horror movie? These are questions that we normally ask when we ask if you have done this at least once in your life. And we normally ask this through present perfect. That's another idea on how to identify. ¿Cómo identificamos? Pues ahora que nos estamos volviendo más familiares con esto, now I identify what are some of the common expressions, and common expressions with present perfect also include the word ever or ever been. Ever been es como has estado, alguna vez estado. Entonces, have you ever been? ¿Alguna vez has estado en un estudio de fotografía, de un fotógrafo? Have you ever been in a photographer's studio? Photographers lleva un apostrophe S porque es posesivo, ¿no? In a photographer's studio. That's why this is right here, okay? Just for you to take note of that. Have you ever been to a photographer's studio? So you can answer yes if that's an experience that you have had, or no if that's an experience that you don't have. So I don't know. It depends on each person's experience. So I'd like to hear your experience here. Maybe you have had the opportunity or not. So I would like to hear that. Let's start with Liz. Liz, have you ever been to a photographer's studio before?
No, I not.
Mhm. So
I
how do
never.
you exactly? How do you say no? I've never, right? I've never been to one. Okay, perfect. Miguel, what
Okay.
about you? Have you ever been to a photographer's studio?
That I remember. No,
No.
no, I
Okay.
have.
Maybe when you were a baby and you don't remember. Uh, Oscar, have you ever been to a photographer's studio?
Hmm. I never been. I think did you say maybe when I was a baby?
Maybe, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So not many people have had the opportunity. Let's see, Luisa. Luisa, have you ever been to a photographer's studio?
No, I haven't been in one. In the future,
Okay.
probably.
Yes. We don't know. We don't
Yes.
know. Very good. Friseida, have you ever been to a photographer's studio?
I have never been to a photography studio.
Okay, perfect. And Caroline, have you ever been to a photographer studio?
No, I've never had the chance to be in one.
Okay, perfect. Karen, have you ever been to a photographer's studio?
Yes, I've been to a photographer studio.
Okay, perfect. When was that?
Uh, it was last last year.
Okay, perfect. Was that for your birthday or for any other special occasion?
Yes, I took a picture for my birthday.
Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. So it appears that you're the only one who have been to a photographer's studio.
It's not
Uh,
in the studio, but we take the pictures outside.
okay, but you did have like a session with the photographer then.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Yes, that
Mhm.
counts. That counts. Thank you very much. Okay, great. So if you see, we're trying to kind of apply what we're talking about to our personal lives. Sometimes we're going to have these experiences, and sometimes we are not. So that's cool. What about the last one? This is the very last one that we're gonna have for this type of exercises where you're trying to decipher what is uh the, the tense. So when you last take a photo. So this is a simple past sentence. Notice my clue. This is a simple past sentence, not a continuous past continuous sentence. No, it's a simple past sentence. ¿Qué incluye el simple past? Simple past includes the verb, the auxiliary verb did, plus the base form verb. So did plus the base form verb. Okay. And don't forget to answer the question. Okay. So it's a question, and think about yourself. When was the last time it happened? Okay. Thank you very much. Great job. So I'm just posting some of the answers that arrived. When you last took a photo. Okay, this is a simple past, but remember that this is a question, okay? Cuando nosotros tenemos una question, entonces necesitamos todas las partes de la question. En la question tenemos auxiliares, como el did, y tenemos el verbo en su forma base. Su base form significa que no lo transformamos ni a pasado, ni ing, ni nada, ¿verdad? Entonces, esta oración se entiende, porque algunas personas hablan el inglés medio atravesado, ¿verdad? Entonces, ustedes nos van a entender. When you last took a photo, it might not be the perfect English sentence, but it is understandable. What is the best way if we qualify it grammatically? It is, when did you last take a photo? So this is what's considered grammatically correct. Okay, when did you last take a photo? Noten que el base form del take lo estoy dejando, porque en una oración que es pregunta y que ya tiene el auxiliar, entonces yo puedo hacer esto, ¿verdad? Ahora, si tengo una respuesta, por ejemplo, I took my last photo yesterday. No sé, ayer los que hablaron de que le toman al sunset, ¿verdad? So, ayer decidieron tomarle una foto al sunset. I took my last photo yesterday of my sunset. Tal vez les gusta tomarle fotos a sus mascotas. Okay? So I took my last photo this morning. The photo of my dog or my cat or my turtle pet, whatever kind of pet you may have. So I took my last photo yesterday. Aquí sí hay un took in simple past. Esta no es una pregunta. Okay, so this is not a question. This is an affirmative sentence, no auxiliaries. The affirmative sentences don't have auxiliaries, so you don't see the word did here. And of course, we need the verb in simple past. So that's one thing that I wanted to clear. Let me erase some of my notes here, and let me post something else. When was you last take a photo? Okay, we may have some problems here because we are competing with two verbs. Parecieran que dos verbos están compitiendo. El verbo tomar y el verbo estar o ser. Entonces, aquí pareciera que diga, ¿cuándo estabas tú tomar una foto? So there is a conflict there. So whenever I have this situation, I have to read the context and see what is the main verb. Is it the main verb, the verb be? Is that what I need? Or is it the verb take? Well, if I'm talking about a photo, I guess that the word take, it is probably the best choice. Okay, so I'm just showing you how to think sometimes. Here, when did you last take a photo? Okay, perfect. I took a picture today in the afternoon. Perfect. This is a great example. I will just add the word here. I took a picture today in the afternoon. If it was one picture. If there were many, then I took some pictures today in the afternoon. But yes, this is the right tense in the simple past. Let's see here. When did you last take a photo? Okay, I took a photo 2 hours, and then I don't really know what's the rest. When did you last take a photo? I last took a photo yesterday at the. So I don't want to. I want to hear about this. So I'm gonna ask Karen. Karen, when did you last take a photo so I can hear the whole story?
I last took a photo yesterday at the restaurant.
At the restaurant. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. And Luisa, when did you take a last photo?
Mm,
What?
Today I took a photo 2 hours before, right now.
2 hours before the class.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the photo
It
about?
was
Was
the
it
photo. I don't know how it is the name in English, but it's un contador de gasolina in my job
okay?
to
Uh,
have some datos for the resume of the week. How many
okay.
gallons consume in the day,
Okay.
at the day.
Perfect. So that's because the machines at your work with gas. Is that right? Or
Yes, it's like this gas station, un contador de combustible.
okay. Perfect. So that's what we normally call that like a gauge. Gauge es ese como relojito, ¿verdad?
Oh,
Que
sí,
podría ser si es de aguja, ¿verdad? Or a meter si
a
es de
mí.
los digitales, right? If it's a digital one.
Okay, thank you,
Mhm.
teacher.
No problem. So we have that. Thank you very much, and thank you for helping me completing that part. I have one last another slide, but on the same route. These are almost completed. I think these are going to be easier because you have the sentence. Now the sentence is pretty much all finished, but we're missing a few words, and I'm asking you to either do a simple or a continuous verb depending on what you think. Okay, so we have 7. So what you at this time last week, a esta hora, a esta hora la semana pasada. Entonces, si se dan cuenta ya el complemento, like the complement of the sentence, is giving me some conditions on what this is about. Si ya me está diciendo last week, no puede ser simple present, no puede ser tampoco present continuous. Entonces voy descartando algunas cosas. Tal vez no sea al 100% cuál es. But I'm going to be just eliminating some of these because I know for sure that this is not a present sentence. Okay? It says, at this time last week. Okay. Entonces, en este caso me está hablando de una actividad que estaba en progreso a esta hora la semana pasada. Okay. ¿Y qué tiempo verbal es el que hace eso? So it was a continuous activity or something that was happening at this time last week. And that is the past continuous. Okay. Para eso sirve el pasado continuo. Normalmente me da un poco de contexto. So probably I want to tell you a story of what was happening last week at this time. Okay. So for us, last week was last Monday and we were in class. So probably that doesn't change much, right? But it's a past continuous sentence. ¿Cómo lo descubrí? Solo leyendo la oración y tratando de aprender un poco más de cómo se ven los contextos. What are some of the words in the context of the sentence that I can use to try to find out the tense? Okay. Vean las número dos. Dice, you play a sport last weekend. Vean que aquí no dice at this time last weekend. It doesn't say any of that. It says last weekend. It's just a completed activity that is in the past. Okay. A completed activity. Si es completed, entonces es past. Simple past. Okay. Si es en desarrollo en algún momento del pasado, then that's past continuous. Si es una oración que empezó en el pasado pero que todavía es relevante para el futuro, like it's still happening, then it's present perfect because the present perfect is that connection. Right? So number 3, what kind of music you nowadays? Nowadays significa ahora. That's another way of saying right now or saying in the present. Number 4, how long you go to the movies. How long you go to the movies. ¿Por cuánto tiempo tú ir a las películas? Again, you will have to find out what's the tense. ¿Será que está hablando del pasado? ¿Cuánto tiempo fui a las películas? ¿O me está preguntando de una actividad que tal vez empezó en el pasado, pero que todavía es relevante porque todavía voy a las películas? Number 5, who you usually spend time on weekends. Aquí está hablando de una rutina. Para hablar de las rutinas usamos el simple present. Number 6, how often you go to the movies. Entonces miren que how long y how often no es lo mismo, ¿verdad? How often es cuán a menudo, like your routine. Tu rutina para ir a las películas. Y las rutinas, otra vez, se hablan con el present simple. Number 7, you travel somewhere interesting on your last vacations, a completed action in the past. Okay. So I'm going to help you with this. Please use 5 minutes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to complete all of them. Ahorita si no es de uno en uno, okay? So they are all of them, all 7, and let's see how many you can answer. No les estoy pidiendo que también las contesten, solo que por lo menos las completen, okay? So at least complete the questions with the correct verb forms. Don't answer them yet. If we have time, we'll do that later. But at least for now, let's try to focus on completing the sentences. So we'll see how that goes after the 5 minutes. Okay, time is over. Let's see how many you got right and how many you were able to complete. I know that there were a lot, but the idea was to practice first, give you some hints, and then see if you were able to complete them all without any help. So let's see a couple of sentences. I'm not going to maybe push you too much, just see how many you were able to complete. So what did you do at this time last week? Okay, almost there. It's a past continuous sentence. So what were you doing last at this time last week? So it was a past continuous sentence. Did you play a sport last weekend? Perfect. So this is a simple past sentence. Number 7, did you travel somewhere interesting on your last vacations? Past simple again. Very good. How often were you gone to the movies? This one, how often? When we ask how often, esto que se nos quede, porque esto es algo que creo que nos puede servir. Cuando alguien nos pregunta how often we do something, like how often do you go to the movies? How often do you go to church? How often do you take a bath? How often do you drink wine? I don't know. Whatever how often question you get, it is normally somebody asking you about your routine. And when someone asks you about your routine, well, they are actually asking you for something in the simple present. The simple present is the one that we normally use for routines. Like, for example, I go to the supermarket 3 times in the month. So that's a routine that I have. And when I want to talk about routines, when I want to explain that, I normally use the simple present. I do not use the present continuous. I don't say, I am going to the supermarket 3 times in the month. We don't say that. We normally say, I go to the supermarket 3 times a month. But that's a simple present sentence. So whenever I see somebody asking the question how often, I immediately connect that to our routine. So people talking about routines. This is probably why it might be confusing. So here, what have you doing at this time last week? Again, it was not a present continuous, present perfect continuous. It was a past continuous. Was you playing a sport last weekend? I don't know, but the verb is wrong. Were you playing a sport last weekend? Esta podría funcionar. No dice exactamente más contexto, como para saber, si era pasado continuo, pero digamos que sí lo acepto. Now, the verb is wrong. When you have the word you, then you have to use were. Were you playing a sport last weekend? Yes, I was, or no, I wasn't, right? Or did you play a sport last weekend? So just asking you if you completed an activity like this or not. What kind of music do you like nowadays? Okay, that makes sense. This is more like a in general, like in your life now, what is the music that you listen to? How long have you going to the movies? Yes, but you're missing the word been. That's the present perfect continuous. How long have you been going to the movies? That's one thing that I would say is right. Who do you usually spend time with on weekends? Okay, who do you usually spend time? Let's see. I want to make sure I have the right answer. Okay, yeah, so that sounds more like a simple present question. How often have you go to the movies? I just explained that when we have how often, it is normally a simple present sentence. Let's see more. How often have you going? Same mistake. Who was you usually spend? How long have you been going to the movies? Okay, this one is right. What kind of music have you liked nowadays? How often? What kind of music do you like nowadays? Probably. Have you played a sport last weekend? Mm, No puedo usar el present perfect como en este caso si me está hablando de una actividad que ya concluyó. Si es una actividad que empezó en el pasado y terminó en el pasado, es decir, it finished, it concluded, it ended, then it's past. If it's an activity that started in the past, but it is still happening today, por ejemplo, cuando yo digo, ¿por cuántos años has trabajado en esta empresa? Empecé en el pasado, right? How long have you been working for this company? So that means an activity that started in the past because I started working for the company in the past, but I'm still working for the company right now. So the present perfect does that. It connects an activity that started in the past and it is still relevant for today. Now, the present perfect continuous talks more about or makes an emphasis on an activity that has been ongoing. El present perfect es simple, es como más general, ¿verdad? Algo que ha sucedido en algún momento. Y el present perfect continuous como que hace énfasis en esa actividad que empezó en el pasado, pero que ha estado en constante desarrollo y que ha sucedido constantemente y que todavía sucede al día de hoy, ¿verdad? So, in this case, la número dos, por eso no es present perfect. Es más un simple past. Okay, dice last weekend. So those are some of the things that I would recommend for us to check. Okay, so I think I don't have the time to go through all of the answers for each of you, but I'm just giving you more experience with this. Okay, I'm trying to give you clues on, okay, how I do identify this tense. Okay, so this is a word that normally appears in the present perfect, for example. So that's what I want you to do. And the more that we do this and the more that you expose yourself to these kind of situations, then you're going to realize that more naturally you're going to start noticing what is the right form of the verbs without even going back to the grammar. It's just basically you kind of your intuition lets you know that you're doing it right or wrong. Okay, so I want to have a little reading before we leave today. I have a few minutes, and this is a topic posted on Jim's website. So this is a like a fake kind of website. But we have the story of a person. And after the story of a person, we are going to have a little reading comprehension, okay? So I have an exercise where you have a mini quiz based on the reading, okay? So this mini quiz will look like this, okay? So you're gonna read the statements and select if it's true, false, or if it doesn't say, okay? If you select doesn't say, it's because the article doesn't talk about it. And we have to be careful. ¿Okay? A veces nosotros, por ejemplo, con falso y verdadero, normalmente lo hacemos muy fácil, ¿verdad? Ah, una cosa es falso y otra es verdadero porque no lo dice más o menos, ¿verdad? Este le agregamos la dificultad porque es verdadero si el artículo explícitamente habla de ello y está de acuerdo al texto, ¿verdad? Número dos, es falso si contradice algo del texto, ¿verdad? Y número tres, no lo dice, entonces es porque me lo estoy inventando, digamos, ¿verdad? O sea, si algo de lo que dice aquí no está en el texto, ni lo apoya, ni lo refuta, entonces no lo dice. Okay? So you have to be careful with that word. Let's go ahead and read the text. We're going to read it a couple of times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to read it 2 times. I'm going to ask some people to start reading. I'm going to ask Oscar, Miguel, Luisa, and Liz to be the first people to read, okay? So Oscar, you're going to read paragraph number 1. Miguel, you're going to read paragraph number 2. Luisa, number 3. And Liz, number 4. Y para la siguiente vuelta, entonces lo voy a pedir a Karen, a Friseida y mi persona. We're going to finish reading the text. So Oscar, you can read the first paragraph, please.
My history, until recently, I always respected to go into a business with my father. You see, he has his own company, and he wanted me to start working with him right after college. That sounded fine to me, so I didn't plan on being a very serious student.
Thank you very much. Let's go with Miguel. Can you do paragraph number 2?
But once I start studying in college, I realized that some of my courses really interested me. One of them was French. I loved learning the language, and I began to get interested in French culture. After taking a few classes, I thought, why not go to France? So I decided to spend in academic year in Aix in province in South Francia.
Okay, very good. Luisa, can you do number 3?
That year in Aix changed my life. I lived with a wonderful French family who taught me a lot about French customs. Learning the language, especially the pronunciation, was difficult, but I worked hard and I began to understand and speak it well.
Thank you. Liz, can you read the last one?
Because of my experience in AIX, I decided not to go into precise with my father. Now I am thinking about going to graduate school and working in international relations.
Thank you very much. Perfect. So let's go and read the text one more time. And this time I'm going to ask Friseida to do the first paragraph and Karen to do the second paragraph. Friseida, if you can help me, just the first paragraph, please.
Until recently, I always expected to go into business with my father. You see, he has his own company and he wanted me to start working with him right after college. That sounded fine to me, so I didn't plan on being a very serious student.
Thank you very much. And Karen, can you do number 2?
But once I started studying in college, I realized that some of my course really interested me. One of them was French. I loved learning the language, and I began to get interested in French culture. After taking a few classes, I thought, I thought, why not go to France? So I decided to spend an academic year in X in Provence, southern France. France.
Friends. Very good. Okay, so let's go through the text one last time before we do the quiz, okay? So you're going to see some ideas in the quiz and you are going to have to decide if they are true or they are false, okay? So here, this person is talking about his experience in life. So he wanted to help his dad in the company, but some things happen. And when he was studying in college, he was really interested in some topics. And we see some words that are actually in French. So I'm not going to be correcting those on you because we're not learning French, right? But the name of the town is this one here. It's AIX en Provence, but this is a French word, as I mentioned. The first word is pronounced as X, X en Provence, X en Provence. So that's a town in the south of France. Uh, we're not going to spend much time on that. I just wanted to mention if you were having problems like understanding what that meant, well, it's a word in French, so don't worry about it. So my story. Until recently, I always expected to go into business with my father. You see, he has his own company and he wanted me to start working with him right after college. That sounded fine to me, so I didn't plan on being a very serious student. But once I started studying in college, I realized that some of my courses really interested me. One of them was French. I loved learning the language and I began to get interested in French culture. After taking a few classes, I thought, why not go to France? So I decided to spend an academic year in Aix-en-Provence in South France. That year in changed my life. I lived with a wonderful French family who taught me a lot about French customs. Taught is the past of teach. So who taught me a lot about French customs. Learning the language, especially the pronunciation, was difficult, but I worked hard and I began to understand and speaking it well. Because of my experience in it, I've decided not to go into business with my father. Now I'm thinking about going to graduate school and working in international relations. So that's his experience. So we're going to take the quiz, right? So true, false, true, false, true, false. And I want you to select the ones that you think are true or false based on the reading that we just had, okay? So true, false, or doesn't say. Those are your three options. So when you finish, you will receive feedback on your answer, and that's going to be everything for today. Very good. I see that most of you have finished, so I'm going to release the answers in just a second. Okay, so here are the answers, and you've got your score over there. So Jim's father wanting him to go to graduate school immediately after college. El papá de Jim quería que él fuera a graduate school. Graduate school es a la maestría. Quería que fuera a la maestría inmediatamente después de la universidad. That's false. He wanted him to join him in his company. El papá de Jim esperaba que él se uniera a su compañía después de graduarse de la universidad. Ojo, aquí el vocabulario puede confundirnos. La expresión graduate, en este caso no solo quiere decir alguien que se graduó, ¿verdad? Graduate school es escuela de posgrado. Masters, PhD, que son los doctorados. So that's graduate school, ¿ok? Entonces, no, ¿verdad? No es cierto porque el papá no quería que fuera a la maestría o que fuera al posgrado, sino quería que se uniera. Por eso está false. Now, Jim didn't plan to study hard in college. Jim no tenía planeado estudiar duro en la universidad. Y eso es correcto, porque él sabía que al terminar la universidad de una vez iba a trabajar con su papá. Entonces, ¿para qué estudiar duro? Entonces, eso sí lo dice el texto. Y por último, Jim loved eating French food. ¿Ok? Y eso es algo que podemos asumir, pero el texto no lo decía. Hablo de la cultura, hablo de esto, hablo de la familia, hablo de cómo le costó el lenguaje, pero no habló exactamente de sus preferencias de comida. Entonces ahí tenemos que tener cuidado. Ahora, alguno pudo haber puesto true porque lo asumió, pero el texto no lo dice, y false porque lo asumió, porque el texto no lo decía, pero no es lo mismo que sea falso a que simplemente no esté mencionado. Okay, so that is the extra difficulty that we had in this exercise. Okay, so you have your feedback over there, and now these exercises are gonna make you think more. Okay, de aquí ya no es solo ay medio entendí, por eso le selecciono esto, sino tengo que tener un razonamiento de, ok, ¿por qué estoy diciendo que no? ¿O por qué estoy diciendo que sí? So, This is just a sample of the type of reasoning or thinking that you must have whenever you're doing these kind of English exercises. So our time is over for today. I appreciate it. And of course, I appreciate you joining for today's class. I wish you the very best for the evening. Have some rest. See you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Remember that this Thursday, 7:30, sorry, this Thursday we have our final test. Okay, so try to do not miss these week's classes because they're going to prepare us for that moment. Have a great evening.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye.
Bye. See you
You're
tomorrow.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, guys.